So without further ado, I would like to invite Prof. Siti to share her experience.
All right.
So sorry, we have some connection issue here. Prof. Siti, you may start your sharing your screen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Puan Intan. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is in very good situation. Yeah. Okay, I will share my slide now. Okay, as Puan Intan already informed, the title of my talk is on insights and challenges in Arctic research and getting polar research samples. I will divide my talk into 5 sections. The first one is what is Arctic Circle and Arctic Tree Line. Second, journey to the Arctic based from my own expedition and other scientists as well. The third one is on research in Svalbard. That is how you want to carry out your own research, either depend on other institution in the Arctic or independently. And then key area research in Antarctic. And the last one is the IPY, 5th IPY and SCAR IASC. Okay, the first one, when we talk Arctic, there are two categories normally scientists will talk about. The first one is Arctic Circle. Arctic Circle is one of the 2 circles, that is the polar circle or Antarctic Circle. So here, if you can see, this is Arctic Circle. And the second one is the Arctic Tree Line, seldom being talked about, but Arctic Tree Line means that the northernmost where the tree can live. So if you can see here, the green line here, okay. So there are few blue dots here. The blue dots are referring to the sites of the Arctic region in this case, or the old name is Spitsbergen, where Malaysian scientists have carried out their expedition. So this is where the Svalbard is, and this is the enlarged image of Svalbard. There are 3 areas in Svalbard. The first one is Longyearbyen. Scientists have been. This is the, I think, North's airport, where will take us to carry out our research in the Arctic region, especially within this region. Then the second one is Ny-Ålesund. I will talk more about Ny-Ålesund later. And the last one is Hornsund. This is the Polish Polar Department, where some of us have been here to collect the samples. So this is just to give you an overview how many papers have been published and what areas or science categories Malaysian scientists have been producing. Based on the WOS, there are 93 publications. We just work on the WOS, but if you work on larger definition of publication, there were about 200 plus, that is include the proceedings. And these are some of the examples of publication. And surprisingly, main area is geosciences multidisciplinary, followed by ecology, environmental sciences, and then multidisciplinary sciences. So I'm going to share here 5 expeditions to my knowledge, 5 expeditions that scientists in Malaysia have been involved. So this was the first one. Actually, it's like a familiarization trip, but we did collect some sample as well. This was under the invitation of Korea Polar Research Institute, KOPRI. The scientists include Prof. Pang Siew Moy, Prof. Irene Tan, and myself in 2007, and at Ny-Ålesund. Okay. Then the second one, I will tell more what is this all about. This is research in Svalbard ID that we can obtain from the Svalbard Governor Office. And I applied this in 2010, a project on Arctic fungi and bacteria as indicator for nutrients and hydrocarbons contamination field sampling that was conducted surrounding the Polish Polar Research Station at Hornsund. And the scientists that also participated, the blue one, there were 2 expeditions under this project. The first one was myself and Dr. He from UMT, and the second one was Dr. Z, Prof. Michael Wong, Dr. Wong Chuyen, Prof. Wan Masna is one of the members, and student, USM student, Muhammad Adlan and Siti Hafiza from UM. And then the third one, this is Dr. Aminor from UMT. Her project was on use of oxidative stress enzymes in algae as biomarkers for monitoring stress in the polar regions. And she said polar regions because I know she also worked on the Antarctic sample as well. Then project KP122, this is a collaboration between UM and AWI, Alfred Wegener Institute, Germany, where project leader is Prof. Pang Simoy, and Dr. Wong Chuyen, Dr. Teo Ming Lee went to Ni-Elsen in AWI station, AWI research station, to carry out this project. And the last one, which is also the same project, 2 scientists from UITM, Dr. Nur Huda Mansur and Dr. Fatima, went in 2013 for this particular project, an epigenetic approach to the exploration of Arctic fungal secondary metabolomes, scientific expedition in Svalbard Islands. So next, I'm going to share the first expedition, which was my first expedition to the Arctic. My second expedition to the Arctic. Okay. This actually was a collaboration between Polish Polar Department. Polish Polar Department is under Polish Academy of Sciences. Dr. Smikla, I met him during Open Science Conference. In one of those Open Science Conference, he invited us to collaborate. And this is Polish Polar Research Station, where I have shown earlier. This is where the station is. We flew from KL to, I think, Tromsø. Before Tromsø, probably, I can't remember, maybe Amsterdam, Tromsø, and then to Longyearbyen. This is the northernmost airport. So from here, we travel using El Tanin, a sailing vessel owned by Holland company. And to go back and forth, it cost us about 10,000 ringgit Malaysia to rent this. And we shared among the 4 of us, UMT, and the 2 scientists from Holland. So I paid about 2,500 ringgit for myself. And the air ticket, the accommodation, it cost me about 9,000 in total, plus food. So it cost me about 12,000 in order to carry out this 10 days expeditions. So you can see here is a very small sailing vessel. There's no place actually to stand to stand outside. Actually, you just stay inside. And when you stay inside, the most comfortable position was horizontal position. It's just you slept throughout took us 1.5 days along this. The water was very choppy. We just got up to have meal and then continue our horizontal position again until we arrive at Hon-Sun Station. And this is the project report that we have to submit using the online based on what we have submitted to the Svalbard Governor Office for the permit. Next is, this is an example of our collection, how we record the baseline information for our culture and samples collection. So there are, I think, more than 700 samples collection that we have in NRC. A majority was from my collection. And this is the samples collection. And I have only snapshot the page for Arctic expedition. So these are the Arctic expedition, this one as well. And this is Yapazam's template, actually. I just realized that this morning when I spoke to Puan Intan, actually we used the template from Yapazam. And you can see here detail of collector, the date, the location, the category of the sites where you collected the sample, you have permit or not, and everything being jotted down nicely. So that is the samples collection. We also have something similar like this for our culture collection. Most of them are fungi. So I would just like to share with you, it is very, I know there are so many photos, but from these photos, I can share the experience, the challenges, and the preparation that you need to be doing in order for you to carry out your Arctic work. Let's begin with this rifle in my hand. In order for you to carry out your expedition in the Arctic region, especially if you intend to collect miles and miles away from the research station, you need to go through a training. You need to apply at the website, I will share later, for a short training to do this. Not only also shotgun. I don't have to, Dr. He, no, we did not have to, because we have with us this is Lucas, and then we have Jurek. They went earlier and then they undertook the training. So you have to have this. This is not supposed to kill the polar bear, but just to scare them away. And you're not supposed to load the bullet inside it until when you face situation where you're face to face with this polar bear. And then if you notice, it's a long walk from morning to 6 o'clock in the evening. You have to get ready. You have to be quite fit to do that. You have to wear proper shoes. You can see I lost my boots for whatever reason. Maybe the sole disappeared, so we had to do something with that. And then it was very slippery as well. I have to wear a proper shoes. Looking back at the picture, I think if you ask me to do it again, I don't think I would, because I remember it was very steep and very dangerous. If you tumbling down, it's very dangerous. And at the station, we have a chef here. And here, this is the polar bear. This is another challenge, big, huge challenge that we faced, because we encountered 6 times with polar bear. And one of the scientists at the station mentioned, I've been in this region for many, many years. Never, even in 2 weeks' time, I encountered 1 or 2. But in 2 weeks' time, we encountered 6 times. And they are huge. This particular one, very huge. If you can see, this is water pump, if I'm not mistaken. I was there, I stand here, and I can see that I think my height is here. You can tell how big the polar bear is. That's why it's very dangerous. So when you want to carry out research in Arctic region, you have to really be prepared. Safety, take a very good insurance that include helicopter rescue and all that. So actually the polar bear was hungry. He came to look for food. So they had to scare him away, him or her, I'm not sure, with rubber bullet. It was painful, I think, for the polar bear. It jumped, and I mean, I was sad at that time to see, to see that he is in pain, but what scare the bear away. Okay. So the collect then, this is also like similarly with the Antarctic work. When you want to example is in order to get, to minimize the contamination or zero contamination. So each station, each site when you stop, you will spend maybe almost an hour collection to jot down the data, and teamwork. Okay. So, well, this is at the station. Typically, like other Malaysian, I love taking photos of what food I'm eating. I became a vegetarian because there's a limited seafood at that time. For research, policy and governance, also do one of the artists was invited to join the expedition, their own expedition, where they invited artists. So she painted, this particular, and she set up a gallery. She invited us and she asked us to sit down and read what do we think of the painting, what can we get from the painting. So this painting actually about icebergs, also the hardship of those people who lives in the Arctic region, the coal miners, maybe 100 years ago. So if you can see probably the soul, you know, suffering of coldness, what she told me. Of course, I didn't manage to read the painting well. I'm not an artist myself. Okay, so next. Now I'm going to share Dr. Aminor's expedition to Longyearbyen. She went to two places, the Longyearbyen. Actually, the right pronunciation is Longyearbyen, Longyearbyen. And then she also went to Ny-Ålesund. For Longyearbyen, this is the place. I don't show you the airport. She didn't share me the airport. But she shared me the meats. I don't know why. Maybe this is also the challenges for us. You know, we can't, as a Muslim, especially, we can't really eat, simply eat foods. So we can get seafood, but everything is so expensive over there. So this is the Longyearbyen where she went. Then this is the site. I just noticed. I know Dr. Aminor went with one person as an assistant. There were two of them. And I just realized, looking at this photo, it looks like quite far away from where the town is, the small town of Longyearbyen. So I thought she was very brave to go, the two of them, without. Similarly, with the next photo in Ny-Ålesund, where they went, and they had a bicycle that is very useful, actually. When I was at Ny-Ålesund before, we didn't go far, not only because Prof. Pang Simoy was scared of polar bear and all that, but the terrain very, very harsh, very challenging to walk and to collect. So, but Amy did with a bicycle and she went quite far. And again, I was wondering, there were two of them only. Well, anyway, she's still around with us. Okay, then, okay, now I'm going to share experience or share knowledge how yourself, anyone who interested to carry out research in the Arctic region. And when it comes to Arctic region, if you look at the Arctic Circle just now, or the tree line, Arctic is comprised of few nations, but the easiest for Malaysian as sharing this. So at Svalbard, there are few places where you can carry out your research. That is the Ny-Ålesund, Hornsund, Longyearbyen, and also waters surrounding the Svalbard area. Okay, so before you want to carry out your research, either independently or dependent with others, it is very important to this website, Research in Svalbard, and register and booking research in RIS. So RIS here, meaning research in Svalbard, either you are with University of Svalbard or with other nations that have station, still need, it is very important for you to register so that your project is recognized and you will be given a number and the application also to submit. The main thing when you do this, you are sharing the information with the Arctic communities, the scientists. It's not only Arctic, but anyone who is interested to know what sort of research has been carried out. So you register your RIS, and then once you have your ID username, you can submit your application. The proposal at that point of time, if I remember well, it is quite simple, like 2 pages, like a concept note. And then also you can mention what sort of thing that you are going to carry out. Is it surrounding the terrestrial region or the water area? So it is quite, but as far as I know, my personal communication with various, some Arctic scientists whom we are still keep in touch, it is quite straightforward. Okay, for this part, it's quite straightforward. Then let's say you want to carry out your research in certain months or certain year. For instance, if you want to carry out during summer, June, July, or August, you should submit your proposal by 1st of March, because normally it will take them about 8 weeks to approve and to give you the research ID. And for instance, if you want to carry out your research in December, January, February, you must submit that application by 1st October. So this application to the Governor of Svalbard in the website that I have shared earlier. And this is very important. Of course, some of the activities, you don't need special permission, like I've said. If you want just to collect sample on area, along Yerbian, where the jetty is, where the airport is, because there are so many humans there. You don't need to go further. You don't need to carry rifle. But if you're going out in the field, miles and away, you need to do this, to rent a firearm for polar bear protection. And don't forget about the training that I mentioned earlier. Then, if you travel, movement in the region, it doesn't want to be disturbed with that kind of wavelength, so that they don't want that. So you have to make sure that you apply this. Similarly with drone as well, you have to obtain permits before you arrive in Ni-Elsan, especially in Ni-Elsan area. And I think in Malaysia also, this area you need to apply for a permit as well. Then, if your project relies on collecting samples or placing instruments on Kings Bay property in Ni-Elsan, you definitely need to get application process in Kings Bay AS. So first, you must have your ID now, Svalbard Governor website. And then if you decided to do this at Ni-Elsan, I will mention why later, but Ni-Elsan is where you need to have access the lab station, the lab, the food, hostel, and all that. Because Kings Bay AS is a company, the only company who will provide those to all the 20 stations at Ni-Elsan. There are about 20 stations at Kings Bay AS. These stations belong to China, India, Sweden, BAS, you name it. When I was there, I was at Kopri Station. So remember, if you want to carry out your research at Ni-Elsan, first, your research ID, then you have to go through this website to apply the necessary things that you need to be doing at Ni-Elsan. Okay. So here, this is where Ni-Elsan is. You can see small red dot here. Okay, Ni-Elsan is located in Svalbard. It is actually the northernmost where you can find human being reside. And it is also the northernmost research station. Okay, and it has about year-round, 35 year-round residents. And during summer, about 100 scientists and artists will fly there. And for this purpose, normally during summer, people will fly. And how to book an airline ticket, you have to go to the Kings Bay website, the one that I've shared earlier, to book your flight ticket. It's very competitive, so you have to arrange in advance. And then if you have a collaboration with one of those 20 nations, for instance, the COPRI, the Chinese, the India, you have advantage because the host scientist can do it for you. For instance, like ours before, COPRI did the booking for us. All we have to do is to go to Longyearbyen and wait for our flight. We missed our flight for some reason, so they flew us using helicopters at that time. And this is how to conduct research at NIALSEN. You can go to this website, and in that website, the application, it will, you have write a good one, proposal. You have project planning, project preparation, execution, and project follow-up. So all you have to do is to go to this website. Next, this is an example of the lab at Kings Bay, at NIALSEN. I was here before, but that was during summer. There's not much snow. So this is the type of airlines that will fly the scientists. And probably this is one of the lab that is available. Each nation has its lab in this NIALSEN. And all the 20 nations, the scientists from the 20 nations, will use only one facilities when it comes to food, at the Kings Bay station. Kings Bay, like I've mentioned earlier, owned by Norway government. So you have to apply in advance the type of food that you want. They have a schedule for coffee, morning refreshment, lunch, dinner, and supper. Let's say if you want to go out whole day, you have to submit an application way in advance so that they can keep all the food. So that's how you want to carry out. And it's quite, I would say simple, but it's quite straightforward and very systematic, very structured way of doing things there. Next, is to initiate the research and network in polar science. For grant application networking, you can go to Svalbard Science Forum, SSF. This website will tell you what sort of research that is being carried out in the Svalbard area. But more importantly, interestingly, they have two grants. This is research in Svalbard, and then Svalbard Strategic Grant. Sorry, two. That is, the first one is Svalbard Strategic Grant. Second, this is open for international. Way before that, the application was quite simple, but now this is quite complicated in a sense. Lots of paperwork and evidence. More importantly, you must have your international collaboration before you want to apply that, because they will have that sort of information needed for this kind of application. And then here, SSF provides information about research infrastructure and activities in Svalbard. Okay. And it facilitates coordination, collaboration, data sharing between researchers. And this is important because this is to avoid duplication. And it's good for us to, for anyone who is interested to carry out, because you know what has been done, what is yet to be done, and maybe you can also contact the person and collaborate with the scientists. Go to this SSF website, and perhaps if you can lead this or this, the possibility to apply and to get it are there. Okay, next. Just to give you an example of key research areas based on WOS categories, how many works or papers have been published by scientists in terms of sciences in the region. So we can see here, out of 78,000 papers, WOS, environmental sciences carried the most, have been published the most, 18% of this, and followed by geosciences, multidisciplinary, and then meteorology, atmospheric science, ecology, oceanography, marine freshwater biology. So maybe among us are wondering why bother to carry out research in the Arctic. Similarly, like people used to ask why bother to carry out research in the Arctic. So if you can go to the detail, but what I can summarize here are the following. Okay, the one is the Arctic sheets provide insight into millions of years of climate history, so indicating what we should expect as our current climate changes. And then this research also can improve predictions of Arctic change and explore its global impacts. And the last one, this is very significant to us. Study confirms that Arctic sea ice variability is strongly influenced by tropical variability, or probably vice versa. I've tried to read a few papers because I'm not the physical sciences or atmospheric sciences. I still struggle to understand this. But I know group teleconnection, Prof. Azizan, Dr. Shiba, they are also doing Arctic research on this. So, like I've said in many of my presentation before, we shouldn't stop in Malaysia only, because now we can see the pole-to-pole connection, and especially under the current climate crisis, this is very important for us to show that we care, show that we can contribute in terms of polar sciences. So next, this is just to share with you, maybe most of you are familiar with SCAR, Scientific Committee for Antarctic Research, but Arctic also, they have International Arctic Science Committee. This is a non-governmental international scientific organization, IASC. I think, I'm not sure the status of YAPAZAM, I mean, in terms of, but I know AFOPS, Asian Fora for Polar Science, we have an MOU with this IASC. Maybe if YAPAZAM hasn't, you know, maybe it's time also to check about the possibility to have this MOU. Okay, so the main area include cross-cutting activities, atmosphere, cryosphere, marine, social and human, and terrestrial. The reason why I want to share this IASC is IASC and also SCAR, they are planning the fifth International Polar Year, 2032-33. Maybe use it. 2030 is going to be like many more years down the line, but they have started. And I think you should check the website to participate in EOI, expression of interest, as a Malaysian scientist, to take part and also to contribute to the science. For the previous expression of interest, EOI, Prof. Azizan, Prof. Pang, Prof. Irene, Prof. Michael, maybe participated. They have their own EOI number in this IPY, the one previous. So please do check. This is to showcase that Malaysian scientists can also take part and contribute their knowledge and expertise for the international polar. So this IPY also being supported by MED, WMO, ISC, IESSA, and APEX. Okay, so you can go to the website and check. I'm really interested to also obtain EOI number so that Malaysia can take part actively for this particular incoming International Polar Year. Next. Yeah, I think that is the end of my talk. I would like to take an opportunity to thank your attendance and being with us this morning, and also the following ministry and YAPAZAM, COPRI, Polish Polar Department for their hospitality, for the grant as well, to make it possible for us to carry out this Arctic project. So thank you. I will stop sharing. If you have any question, I pass back to Puan Intan.
Thank you, Prof. Siti. So any questions from the participants?
Ada suara tapi tak clear.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam, Dr.
Saya
Fauzan.
Fauzan dari Universiti Malaysia Pahang.
Mhm.
Tadi saya tengok interest research the- di apa tu polar research ni untuk microbiology macam 2% only compared to environmental science.
Mhm.
So adakah applicant yang memohon dalam bidang microbiology akan mendapat kurang prioriti lah dalam permohonan untuk grant YPSM?
Okay, ini soalan boleh tuju kepada Dr. Amanda atau Puan Intan.
Dr. Amanda nak jawab.
Terima kasih Dr. Fauzan. Priority yang Arctic tu sebenarnya tak adalah kita fokus on what yang Prof Siti shared tu. Kita more to general of whether your research can be conducted in Arctic, not say of micro whatever. Tadi sorry microbiology ke tadi yang Dr. Fauzan mentioned. So we're still open for any sort of research that you would like to conduct. Cuma make sure that it can be conducted in Arctic or Antarctica, that's all. And also we will be sharing the team for this year. So hopefully you'll be also aligned with the team that we will be having for this call proposal 2025.
Boleh share apa team dia untuk tahun ni?
Belum, nanti kita announce in October.
Alright, terima kasih.
Sama.
Okay, Puan Intan boleh saya tambah sikit? Okay, related to Dr. Fauzan's question, Dr. Amanda has already explained, but I think for YAPAZAM's grant purpose, in order to increase the chances for everyone to get it, I think please try to connect your research to Malaysia. I mean, the importance of your research. What can the research contribute to Malaysia especially? And one more thing as well, it is very important to have a preliminary data before you submit your application, the proposal. That will strengthen your proposal as well. What I meant, for instance, like I have already been to the Arctic and I've give the background, the importance, what is lacking or what are the gaps for the research and what can be done. You present it you write it in your proposal and submit. The chances are slightly higher, right, Dr. Amanda?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Betul, Prof Siti.
Macam Dr. Siti pun dah share tadi kan, ada some of the samples yang available in NARC lab that you can utilize before you submit your proposal. You can start now pun kan to support your application.
Yeah. Actually, that is what happened to, I think I saw Nur Faizul Hadri. I think he also shared. Prof. Michael, how are you? Nice to see you here.
Hi, Prof Siti. Good morning, everybody. Actually, nice to see you also. I have a question, more of a general audience. So, for instance, a young researcher, a new researcher wants to go to the Arctic to collect sample. So you apply to YPAZAM for the grant. But the application, you need a local collaborator. So how do they can start to find a local collaborator at the Arctic? Yeah. Maybe that's the first question. And the second question is really that just now Siti mentioned that when we go there, we need to apply for a research permit. And we are given a number. That research permit lasts for how long? Is it just per trip or it can be multiple trips? That's the second question. And the third question is just now also Intan mentioned that there are some samples from Arctic kept in universities. Say, for instance, a young researcher wants to apply for such a grant, but then he is still bound by the need to have an international collaborator in the proposal. But he's not going to the Arctic. He's just working in the sample from the Kumpul, the Malaysia. So how do we go on so that our young audience can benefit from it? Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Michael. That is a very good question. Okay, there are three questions here. The first one on local collaborator. sorry, just now maybe I failed to explain in detail, clearly. In one of my slides, I did mention that you have to apply for the ID, right? Either independent or independent. Either dependent or independent. Independent means you can do it on your own. You don't need international collaborator. This is especially if you want to cover area of Longyearbyen, because Longyearbyen is a small town. You can go along the coastal area. People can still see you. It's not really, you don't really need to have a chaperone as in with rifle or with field assistant. So you can apply without having international collaborator in that website. And you can detail it. Your site is along the coastal town of Longyearbyen. I know my collaborator from Taiwan University did that. He collected marine fungi from the coastal area of the town of Longyearbyen. This new species. And I did also collect them from the Longyearbyen on the way back from Honsun, but I was with Dr. Jurek and Lucas, who had his rifle with him as well. So, Prof. Michael, did I answer you clearly for that question? But Prof. Michael, before I go to the next question.
Yes, Prof. Siti, I mean, yes, you answered clearly. That is as far as going there to sample. But what I'm asking is more like administrative at the YPASM, you see. Before, say, I apply for travel to Longyearbyen, you know. But I still need a local collaborator, right?
Local
Dr.
as in
Amanda?
Malaysian, is it? Prof. Michael?
No, sorry. International collaborator, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Boleh Dr. Amanda saya jawab dulu?
Boleh.
Now I understand international collaborator as in local. So that question also relate to your question number 3, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Number
that's right.
3, for instance, Antarctic Center, UM here have like hundreds of samples from Arctic. And for YAPASM grant purpose, you have to have international collaborator. But the safekeeper, the person who's looking after is in RRC. But something that I need to also stress here, Prof. Michael and the rest, the sample that we have collected, either the Arctic or Antarctic, either the maritime Antarctic or the Western continental Antarctic, this is something that many people didn't realize. The collaboration involve international. Even though the sample being taken and kept here in UM, whatever work that we are going to work, for instance, like your good self, because you have been to the Arctic, right? But you're asking for the youngsters here. You have to still include the international collaborator. I give myself an example. I work closely with Dr. Smikla from Polish Polar Department. Let's say Dr. Fauzan wants to have access to the sample in the center. So in the proposal, Dr. Fauzan must put Dr. Smikla's name. This is a gentleman understanding between us with Dr. Smikla, because he himself already mentioned to me, we don't have MOU yet. We've been wanting to, but he's been traveling many times, so it's difficult to really pinpoint that MOU. But like I said, Prof. Michael, let's say you want to apply research grant, YAPASM especially, where diwajibkan international collaborator, you can put Dr. Smikla as international collaborator. And in any publication, you need to put his name, because like I said, the station, when I went to Honsun, Polish Polar Department sponsored the food and everything, accommodation. I only paid for my L-Canin research vessel, which is only 2,500 ringgit. So here, Dr. Fauzan or Prof. Michael, you don't have a problem in terms of getting international collaborator, because you still need to put their name. Similarly also, for my Antarctic sample from INACH, from INACH especially, even though the sample was many years ago for publication purpose, for grant purposes, for YAPASM contohnya, Dr. Rizman, Dr. Teo, myself, we always put the origin of the sample and the collaborator. So is that clear, Prof. Michael?
Yeah, Prof. Siti is very clear, and yeah, I understand the mechanism. It's just that we still need to get a letter of support from the international collaborator, which is Dr. Smikla in this case lah,
Yeah, not
So-
difficult. He does that. Yeah, and
Alright.
even though he is actually ecologist, not microbiologist,
Sure.
but he contributed a lot in, especially when the papers. He really went through our papers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Similarly with the INACH as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Prof. Siti,
Your
maybe you,
second question.
sorry Prof. Siti, maybe you can add lah macam how to contact Dr. Smikla. Is it through you ataupun they can contact directly?
They can contact directly, but normally
Okay.
UITM, UIA, and everyone will just give them the contact number for Dr. Smikla, especially macam contoh latest Dr. Fazilah, UITM. She needs international collaborator for her lichen, if I'm not mistaken. So they are dealing with, between the two of them are dealing the paperwork, which settled already, I believe. Ponintan should know, right? Yeah. So research permit, Prof. Michael tanya tadi regarding apa research permit? The ID number, how many years?
How long? Yeah.
How long? You can specify. I specified 2 years at that point of time, if I
Alright.
remember well. But, Prof. Michael, even though you put 2 years, the platform for you to submit report, I think is still open because sometimes the report can only be done after 2 years of research based on
Okay.
report, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more question?
Assalamualaikum Prof. Okay, saya Akmal. Saya nak tanya, bidang saya sains sosial, which is I'm more to ecotourism. So last year dia ada buka untuk sains sosial, tapi I keep thinking international collaborator lah. Lepas tu should I go there to collect the data or I can collect the data from Malaysia. So itu yang membuatkan saya lambat tau take action. So macam mana advice Prof sendiri?
Dr. Akmal dari mana ya?
Saya dari UPM.
Oh, UPM. I think you did contact Prof. Goh, right?
Yeah, I heard before, but dah dalam itu itulah I miss you juga. So should I data somewhere punya yang last punya dekat kan yang last begitu yang pergi Arctic atau Antartika tu ataupun perlu pergi ke sana ataupun questionnaire tu boleh distribute je dekat Malaysia.
Yeah. Okay, Akmal, I'm fully aware of your existence because Prof. Goh mentioned about you last year. Okay, you are doing social science, right? Tourism.
Bidang I recreation ecotourism.
Ecotourism. Personal opinion lah. I don't have to go there just to get something first before you can submit your proposal, because this is maybe like public perception that Dr. Goh and I years ago, the question is about public perception about Antarctic, and you can do these public perceptions regarding ecotourism, impacts of ecotourism, Arctic research. For that, with that, you can go have money. It's just simple. You just have to ticket from KLIA to maybe Amsterdam, from Seoul and to Long. You can meet with the people, the tourists there. By all means, if you have that kind of money. If not, you can still start project by doing.
Yang ni ecotourism ya. Description people want there, but in the same time to protect pergi nanti naik kapal banyak. Another ni aware tak tourism in that area.
So in this case, for instance, the Arctic region, the Ny-Ålesund, I know there are many cruise pass by when I was there. I even hop onto their cruise ship to investigate, to observe, and then also at Longyearbyen as well. So I think what you should do is do some literature review, do some reading, because I know in Arctic region, what I've read recently, the social science, very important, one of the important aspect. So I'm sure you can, based on your reading, you can get some idea regarding your project. Sorry, I cannot help you much about this.
I think I got some idea. I will contact Prof. Fong. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Ada question from Dr. Lutfi. Adakah ini juga melalui BAS?
Melalui apa?
BAS, British Antarctic Survey.
Oh, tidak. Maybe Dr. Lutfi came in late. I did explain earlier. So Dr. Lutfi, you are referring to science research, right? I did explain earlier, if you are keen to carry out research in Arctic region, in Arctic, either you have international collaborator or not, you can do that. First is to apply for a permit from the governor of Svalbard. I did share the website information. I think Puan Intan will share the presentation, right? So you don't have to go through with BAS. So like Prof. Michael asked, do we need local collaborator? Yes and no. You can do that independently. Unless you want to work at Nielsen, where there are 20 stations from different nations, 20 nations. One definitely, because
But for our site,
facilities, and especially, yes, that.
for our site, kita memang highly encourage our applicants and researchers to have an international collaborator lah. That's why it's part of the requirement to apply for our grant.
Eunice seems to last time when I did, there were a few microbiologists there's so can them, or normally scientists kita contact Pete Conway. I know that's why you asked BAS, right? Pete Conway to introduce any collaborators. He normally very helpful in that sense if you can't find anyone that is suitable. Collaborators at Longyearbyen or Longyearbyen, especially because let's say you are collecting so many samples and then place your samples at UNIS in their incubator, right? So before you catch your next flight back to Malaysia.
And just to add, Dr. Amanda from WebSM and Prof. Siti will be going to SCAR OSC this Friday. So kalau ada anyone yang perlu any kind of assistance in getting collaborator ke, nak ask for samples ke, or you want to, you can email both of them so that they can find a solution lah dekat SCAR tu, sebab during the conference there will be meeting lots of international collaborators kan from the banyak countries, so they can help. So just email. I will write their email in the chat box, so any inquiries can you can just email to them directly. Okay.
Yeah, it's true. One Intan, actually, Dr. Smikla, who else? I met them during one of the SCAR meeting, Open Science Chat, near table or same table, I can't remember. So we had a discussion, then that's where we started. So it's already like 15 years of collaboration already with them, with him.
Yeah, Prof. Siti, well, have a nice trip to SCAR. Now, at the same time, now if you meet Inash new director, perhaps to ungkit balik lah pasal the MOU that we have and see whether we can move on from there to have some berth to send our scientists to the Antarctic lah. Yeah.
Yeah, Paizam, Dr. Amanda is trying to make an appointment to see the director. Yeah.
Yeah, because last year my letter to Inash at the time is a transition lah. Now, unfortunately, there's no
I
reply.
see.
Not even a rejection letter or what is going on lah.
Try again this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, just to share, this is the 2025 call for proposal timeline. So last month in July, we had online sharing session from 2 local researchers that involved in SCAR. And then this month, we'll be having a series of webinar sharing session from on experiences and challenges of Malaysia Antarctic research. There'll be 7 of them. And then next month, another workshop. This is more on the proposal writing. And then in October, briefing for the this year the application will open in 1st November, and this year application will be through a system. So we are no longer use the online form and you need to email us semua tu. So this time around kita akan guna sistem. So it will be available from 1st November onwards until 31st January. So in October ni kita akan ada satu briefing session on how kita akan go through the system lah, how to fill in the form and what documents do you need. And then macam Amanda mentioned earlier, kita akan announce the theme for this year, for next year fall tu during this workshop lah. And then December, any universities yang require our assistance untuk datang and buat physical workshop, boleh maklumlah kita akan adakan the workshop physically at your institution. And then February to April will be the review evaluation process. And then May is the final assessment by our scientific advisory committee. And June, we'll get approval from our board of trustees. And July is the announcement of the recipient. So let me share another poster. So today, this is the first session lah. And then we will have another session next Monday. Next week akan ada 2 session. And then the following week, another 3. So if you can see macam hari ni, Prof Siti is covering on Arctic research kan. And then next week, next Monday, Dr. Lutfi and Dr. Alia will be sharing on their experience pergi expedition with British Antarctic Survey. And then Dr. Siti Harwani from USM akan share how she conducted her research without setting foot on the continent. Dia guna existing data from open source juga. And then ada experience dengan Korea, China, Turkey, and then Chile. So boleh register so that we have your contact, especially if you're coming from new universities kan. And then if this is your first time nak apply our grants, at least we have your contact so that kita boleh update lah kalau ada apa-apa information or upcoming event. I think that's all from me. Dr. Siti, Prof Siti, you nak tambah anything? Ada anything?
Terima kasih.
Thank you, Dr.
Terima kasih.
No more question
Thank
Puan Intan?
Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih lah. Terima kasih.